Hello, this video is somewhat of a tutorial on how to design your own GameCube controllers. This is by no means the best tutorial out there, but I put this video on YouTube only to provide inspiration to other people who are looking into this kind of project. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy this video. Here we have two white GameCube controllers. We're going to start off by unscrewing this point, this point, this point, this point, this point, and this point, so we can open it up and paint each shell and add our own graphic designs. Not our own, I printed those off of Google Images. So I hope that's clear enough. Let's get started. So after you've unscrewed everything, you can take this off and put those screws in an organized place while you remember. There's 6 of them total. Put them all together somewhere. By the way, sorry for my lack of a tripod. The shell, I'm going to paint the bottom of that one. First I'm going to take out the R and L button. If you have an official GameCube controller, this one's a remake. A remake by Cirka. But if you have like an official Nintendo GameCube controller, it's going to be a little bit different, for the most part the same. So yeah, go into this project just knowing that. Gonna push up on this and just kind of lifts out like that, and then so there's the R and L button, and there's springs and all the screws. Make sure you're keeping track of everything. We're gonna take this Z button out right now. Comes out pretty easy. So here's one of the shells, and now we're gonna take the circuit board and the rumble pack out. So these remakes are kind of cool because you can modify them to, there's the start button, but you can also modify it to do turbo controls and slow motion. I think it's kind of lame, but it's there, so you can mod it if you want it. There's all the parts that we will not need for a while. Oh wait, these rubber pieces too, and the buttons. Make sure you keep everything together. Don't lose anything. So here's our 2 shells, and that's what we're going to be painting and adding our designs to. So for the graphic that I'm using, as long as you have a printer or a means to print, you can do this method that I've done here. I ordered Waterslide decal paper. Put this in your printer, and then you print out a design from your computer, and then you put it into water, and the design is supposed to slide off onto plastic. Get it? Okay, good. But one of the most important things that you should have is this clear coat gloss vinyl varnish. It's supposed to be used on oil and acrylic, but it will work fine with this too because it blocks out water. And once you put this in the water, you don't want the ink from the printer to wash off. So I didn't record it, but what you'll need to do is you'll need to spray this at least 3 times. Spray it, wait about 10 minutes for it to dry off. Spray it again, wait another 10 minutes for it to dry off, and then spray it again. So I cannot stress this enough, you absolutely need this varnish. If you don't spray your design, the ink's going to come straight off the paper when you dip it in water. So you absolutely need this. You need to spray it at least 3 times. So if you're going to use the Waterslide decal papers, I suggest that you print out black and white regular printing paper first of the same design, same proportions and everything. So that way you can test where you want the design to go on your controller. I already printed one out and I cut it out exactly how I wanted it. And as you can see, the design's gonna fit right in the middle of the controller. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with the Jolteon. I'm gonna take this black and white paper and I'm going to line it up. It's pretty lined up right now. I'm going to line it up, and then I'm going to trace it and then cut it out. Okay, so I hope you can see that. I just traced the line going right there, and that should fit on the controller. You could probably use an X-Acto knife, but since I don't have one and I'm trying to save money, I'm just gonna use scissors. I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay, so I cut it out with scissors, and it fits exactly where I want it to fit. So, let's apply it. Okay, so I'm gonna spray this one last time just to make sure no water gets in through the edges or anything. There we go. And I'm gonna wait for 10 minutes for that to dry. Alright, so for the Jolteon controller, I want the bottom half of the controller to be light blue. So if you want to be really good about it, you'll get yourself some spray paint and just spray paint the top. However, I want to save money, so I'm going to paint some acrylic paint, and then I'm going to spray it with the varnish. I only have white acrylic paint, as I just happen to have some food coloring around the house, and that's how I'm going to make my colors red and blue. Alright, so I'm just going to wet and then dry off a paintbrush real quick. Alright, apply some paint to your paintbrush, not too much, and just start painting onto your controller. Okay, so I just got done painting it, and of course it's not perfect. You know, it would have been a lot better if I could use a spray paint, but I'm pretty satisfied with how it turned out. Alright, so after you have it all painted up, you're gonna spray it with the varnish. Like I said again, this should block off water from getting on the inside. And in turn, it will keep the paint on. So, just apply it. Alright, so Jolteon is done drying here. Okay, so now that I have this cut out, we're gonna poke a hole in for the start button. And the way that I chose to do that is I just held it up to the light and I traced that hole that's coming through right there. Right there. Just gonna find a sharp knife or something to cut that out. So there's the hole for the start button right there. It doesn't have to be totally clean. We can clean it up later. Okay, so now that you have your decal cut out, you can go ahead and dip it in water. Make sure it's fully immersed. So we're gonna let it sit in there for about 45 seconds to a minute. Eventually, there's a very, very thin layer of kind of like a gluish type of plastic that's over the paper. And eventually you can see that the gluish paper is going to slide off of the glossy paper underneath, and it's see-through, and that's what we're going to put on the controller. Alright, so we're going to put it in place. Careful not to get your fingers stuck on it. Like I said, it kind of has a glue-like property to it, so you can actually get your fingers stuck to it. So after you have the controller painted and the graphic added, you are going to spray everything with the varnish. So yeah, when you're putting it back together, just remember all the pieces. You have the A button, the B button, the X and the Y button, the D-pad. You're going to have the Z button, which you're going to put on in just a little bit. You have the rubber pads for every single button that's on the face. Oh and yeah, also don't forget to put the R and L buttons back in. You can do that, right? Good. So once you're done, put everything back inside the shell and then we'll cover it up and put the screws back on. And remember, there should be 6 screws total. If you're missing one, it's no big deal. So I'd like to take this last moment to talk about things that I would have done differently. First of all, when I painted my controller, I should have sanded it first so that way the paint sticks better. Also, after I was done with the whole project, I should have covered it up and left it to dry for a couple days. The varnish does dry very fast, but it remains pretty tacky for a while. It feels kind of sticky when you're holding the controller. However, after about 48 hours, I would say it starts to harden, and it starts to lose that stickiness, and it starts to feel more smooth. There's also 2 things I almost forgot to mention. One is with the Waterslide decals. Sometimes when you put them on first time, there'll be little bubbles, bubble formations, and you can just brush those out with a damp paintbrush. The other thing I forgot to mention was if you're using an official Nintendo GameCube controller, with the R and L buttons, there's going to be 2 little plastic shields that you can just unscrew and take off, and then they basically pop out the same exact way. Are you tired of YouTubers excessively asking you to subscribe to their channel? Well, you're in the right place. The first person to dislike this video and comment in the comments section, "I want the wily head," will be mailed this free plastic wily head. Dr. Wily from Mega Man. Comment in the comments section, "I want the wily head," and dislike this video, and I will message you my email and we can work out a way for me to mail this to you immediately. Thank you very much. Have a good day.